Hello everyone and welcome to the 4.0 Combat Sentinel overview. We are going to do Carnage Marauder, but I thought screw it, seeing as the respec bug is still in place, I think screw it, we'll just switch over to the Sentinel. I can't be bothered with that stupid respec bug. Really a pain in the arse, that bug. Basically, if you reset your utilities, you have to go through a loading screen in order to commit them. Pain in the arse. Really annoying. So what's combat all about? Combat is not the best in terms of a PvE environment. The biggest problem with combat is precision. Okay, precision. Most of our DPS comes from exploiting the precision window. Okay, increases armor penetration by 100% for 3 seconds. Okay, no armor the target has, so the target has no resistance to our attacks. So the goal is to do as much damage as possible in this precision window. Now it does only last 3 seconds, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. There are several things that we can use. Obvious thing is Blade Dance. Blade Dance is the replacement for Master Strike. Same animation, same icon, so you know, you could have changed the icon for it or changed the animation. That would have been quite nice of them. Maybe, you know, do a bit of work. That would have required work at BioWare, and BioWare, you know, they're not the best at work. You know, cheap and dirty, cheap and dirty. You know, it's what you know, quick and dirty is BioWare style. You know, consequently, also what I look for in a woman. I want a woman quick and dirty. Okay, that's what BioWare's attitude is, and the same thing I look for in a woman. So again, what do we get that's new at level 64? We get Burning Slices. Ooh. Which means that damage dealt by our Blade Dance stacks a burning effect on the target that builds 3 charges, so 1 per second of Blade Dance, because it lasts 3 seconds, and it deals up to 2013 elemental damage over 9 seconds. Yay! That's exciting, isn't it? Yay! I have to say, they've taken a really lazy approach with these classes. They really aren't. Not really. This is the spec actually I'd love to have seen get an overhaul. What someone suggested to me on the stream is that precision, instead of just giving you the reduction just for 3 seconds, is that it gives you, say, 2 charges and it lasts for 20 seconds. So your next 2 abilities, essentially, within the next 20 seconds, will ignore the target's armor. That would be much better, I think, because there's this massive kind of rush to get as many global cooldowns out as possible. The problem with this is, if we get stunned, if we get knocked back, if the boss goes immune, if we have to change target, we lose the damage from precision. You know, there's a lot of things in a raiding environment that goes wrong. So while on the targeting dummy, this spec might be pretty decent, but bear in mind the targeting dummy is not representative of a fight. This operations training dummy is just not representative of what goes on in a real fight. So all the theory crafting that is based off of this, and I don't like theory crafting, honestly. I'm not a big fan of theory crafting. I base my decisions on boss fights, okay? I look at the fight and say, okay, will this benefit me on this boss? I don't spend a lot of time doing parses on the dummy, because I find it a waste of time, to be honest with you. It's a sterile environment where it's just a test of... It's good for testing out your timings, but it's not good for calculating effective damage output, in my opinion. I think you're much better to use bosses and use story mode. That's what story mode ops are for, really. It's for helping you out when you come to deciding these things. I find that a lot of the theory crafting is just based on the dummy. Okay, it's just based on the dummy. And yes, this is ahead of Fury on the dummy, but it's such a narrow window. And Fury has such a bigger window. Concentration, it's called here. We should point out it's called concentration on the Sentinel. Fury if you're a Marauder. But Fury just has so much more flexibility, and I'd rather have the flexibility and have the more sort of on-demand burst than having it tied to this 3-second window. That's my problem with this spec. Is in PvP, it's not too bad actually. It works out all right in a PvP environment. In a PvE environment, yeah, not so much. Basically, this talent really helps out in PvP. Unwavering Resolve, which activating Saber War grants immunity to stun, sleep, lift, incapacitating effects for 6 seconds. Bear in mind, most of our damage comes from a 3-second window. So that is pretty nice. We can just do damage without being stunned for 6 seconds while our Saber Ward is up. So PvP, you know, it can be useful. We're not going to get stunned during that 6 seconds, so we can get some reasonable burst out, you know, in that we can actually get this window, because your gore window, which is the Marauder one, precision window is 3 seconds, so this in a PvP environment makes sense. In a PvE environment, no, because scripted stuns doesn't make us immune to. Okay, it also doesn't make us immune from the boss switching targets, or the target that we're fighting dies and we have to switch. So it just doesn't work out. In terms of utilities that are worth taking, Stoic is always the go-to for this one. Increases damage reduction by 2%. We build 2 centering when we're attacked as well, which is pretty nice. Again, gets our centering up. Centering is our second resource. It generates Zen or Inspiration, generally we can spend that on. And most of the time it will be Zen. In our current lightsaber form, it will grant us 30% alacrity, 5 charges, 30% alacrity, 6 charges. Is it? No, 30%. No, it's 5 charges. I think it's 5 charges. We'll find out. Let's find out. Let's get some Zen up. Right, I also like Trailblazer if we're doing Cleave, is pretty good. Jedi Crusader, Rebuke is active, generates 1 focus. Again, we can take this. Again, Adamant, you can take that as well. How many charges is it? It is 6 charges, there you go, 6 charges. Each attack that we do consumes a charge. So you can see here we attack, consumes a charge. There you go, 6 charges. So you get 6 abilities and you've got alacrity, 36% alacrity, 37% alacrity should we say. We've got 7% passively. You get a massive amount of alacrity. Alacrity is very good for the spec. Where are we? Masterful utilities. Again, I would also look at Jedi Enforcer as well. If we're not cleaving, Jedi Enforcer is pretty nice. Increase the damage dealt by Rebuke 15 seconds and increase its duration. The damage dealt, it's not really great, but the duration is what we want really, because Rebuke gives us 20% less damage taken. In terms of Masterful, Ardor tend to be what we go with. Transcendence no longer has a cooldown. Consumes Sentinel, will go on cooldown for 30 seconds. Again, doing fights like Underlurker, Transcendence is very, very useful. Fights where we need to move everyone in the group. Bear in mind, it doesn't just buff your movement speed, it buffs the whole group. So Underlurker hard mode, where you're getting the debuff that slows your movement speed. Transcendence to increase your movement speed is pretty nice. Get behind those rocks, avoid that rage storm. Also, you'll take it with fleet-footed as well. Transcendence will purge movement impairing effects of everyone in the group. So there you go. Movement speed bonus of Transcendence is increased by an additional 30% as well. So again, under Lurker hard mode, we're going to take these 2 abilities. Our new ability is Inspired Focus. Again, Inspiration gets us 12 focus when activated. It's very, very useful because Inspiration we will be using at some point. So basically giving you a full bar of focus, meaning you can go DPS. Focus is never... It's not huge here. More the thing we look at is precision over focus, generally. More the thing that we look at. Focus generation is not that much of an issue. It's not as much of an issue as it is in Fury, anyway, in Fury specs. So, you know, I would, if we're popping this at the start, or if we're popping it at the start of the fight, again, it can be pretty useful as well. So yeah, having the full focus just allows us to not spend it on building focus. It means that we can go all out with DPS, so you know, it's not too bad. in terms of that one. So Inspired Focus is not bad. PvP it's pretty useful as well if you're popping Inspiration in PvP. Force Fade increases our movement speed by 15% and the movement speed bonus of Camouflage by 20% and increases the duration of Camouflage. I was doing Karagas Palace, so I took that for the first boss. Force Camouflage because we don't want to get hit by the boss. First boss doesn't have an aggro table, so Camouflage, dumping your threat is a good idea, especially if you're a little bit under geared, you know, and you don't want to get hit by the boss too much because again he just goes from target to target. You know, it can be, you know, getting the duration of Camouflage, because Camouflage is your threat dump, basically, so we want that as well. Increase the range of Pacify. Rebuke can be used while stunned again. Some fights for that can be useful. Defensive Roll is very, very useful as well. Reduces damage taken from AoE attacks. So again, if we're doing Shadow of Revan, a lot of those, Temple of Sacrifice, Ravagers, they have a lot of AoE attacks, so I'd take that for them. A lot of fights, Sword Squadron, Underlurkers, a lot of AoE damage going out there. Increasing the internal elemental damage reduction is helpful as well. I'd take this one, but I was doing KP, so I took this one just to do that in the first boss. KP SM we were doing as well. Heroic talents, your new talent is Cut Loose. Blade Blitz can be used while immobilized. Blade Blitz is your Mad Dash, the equivalent of your Mad Dash. Again, flail your lightsabers about like an idiot and does a little bit of damage. You get 100% defense chance while it's doing it, so it's more of a defensive ability than an offensive ability. Yeah, it makes sense for Marauder really. Flailing like an idiot, I like it. We already covered Fleet-footed. Enduring, again, if we're doing pugs, we are doing a pug run. Again, guarded by, increases the duration of Guarded by the Force, which is the same as Undying Rage in terms of the Marauder. Zealous Ward, again, is useful. Getting attacked while Saber Ward is active heals you for 3% of your maximum health. If we're not getting attacked, bit useless, but if we are getting attacked, then it is useful. Jedi Promulgator. Each use of Strike, Zealous Strike, Leg Slash reduces the active cooldown of Rebuke by 3 seconds. Now, the problem with this is that we do not have Zealous Strike in this spec. I'm pretty sure we don't have it anymore. Zealous Strike. Yeah, we do have Zealous. Oh no, Zealous Strike. That's Zealous Strike. I meant this one actually. Here. What was that one called that was in there? I can't remember what that one was called. But anyway, it gets replaced. Focus slash the passive. I'm trying to think what that one was called. I can't remember what it was called. I thought it was Zealous Strike. Strike is our main ability. Ah, well, forget that one then. I thought Zealous Strike was actually our other thing. So Zealous Strike, Strike, and Leg Slash reduces the active cooldown of Rebuke by 3 seconds. Again, if we're going to be using Rebuke, if you're going to get this talent and Jedi Crusader as well, they synergize quite nicely with that. So if you're going down this route of taking them and you get Rebuke out, Rebuke is useful, I mean, while we're taking a lot of damage, because it's 20% damage reduction. So reducing its cooldown and increasing the duration of it is very useful. Underlurker is a good example of a fight where we constantly take damage, because you get the ads that just jump up and down on the spot and just do damage to you all the time. So having, you know, 20% less damage more often is a benefit. It is a definite benefit, and, you know, increasing the damage dealt is nice, and getting an extra focus whenever we're attacked, because we will be getting attacked while we're using Rebuke on Underlurker. So Rebuke is very, very handy. The Marauder is quite a good class. The Sentinel Marauder, they're quite good in terms of their utilities. Actually, they are quite decent. Got a lot of raid utility there, so you tend to bring one along really, generally for their inspiration. Underlurker you bring in for the Transcendence as well, so you can purge all the movement effects from Transcendence. So again, these, you know, pick and choose wisely generally. I like to take Contemplation as well. Reduces the cooldown of all, but we don't care about that. I've used in PvE anyway, bosses are immune to all really. There it is there. Confounds 8 nearby enemies preventing all action, has no effect on droids, doesn't really work on raid bosses generally. It's just a little on trash, maybe that's why we kind of keep it there, but not really. On a raid boss, no, you can't really stun a raid boss or do anything like that to a raid boss. So what's this spec all about? It's all about getting the most out of precision. So what we're going to do is, I always like to start with 30 stacks of centering. So we're going to get our centering up. We're going to pop Zen as soon as we leap in. We're going to leap in. Okay, leap in. Pop your Zen. Get your Zealous Strike off. Get this off. Cyclone Slash off. Try and hit that off as quickly as we can. You can clip your Blade Dance. We did get the 3 stacks there of the thing. So as soon as you get your 3 stacks, you want to clip your Blade Dance and immediately dispatch if it procs. What we tend to do now is Clashing Blast. We want to try and get off first, depending on how we're gearing. Okay, so basically is leap in, pop your Zen, pop your Zealous Strike to make sure you got enough focus, precision, Clashing Blast, Blade Dance. If this is procced, then you can clip Blade Dance and fire Dispatch out. Okay, if it's procced. If it's not procced, just let Blade Dance finish, generally, is the way to go. And then it's just a case of Blade Rush, generally what is our go-to. Zealous Strike, generally on cooldown. Strike we can use in between Blade Rush, Strike, Blade Rush, bit of a strike off, just to keep our focus up. What we want to do is try and keep at least about 6 focus generally, because our precision costs 1 focus, and the Clashing Blast will cost us kind of 3, and Dispatch will cost us 3 as well. So we kind of want to do, while we're waiting for Blade Dance to come off cooldown, if these 2 proc and our precision is off cooldown, we're going to press precision, Clashing Blast, Dispatch, and just wait for Blade Dance to come off. You don't really want to use Blade Dance without precision, generally. Blade Dance, not really a thing we want to keep on cool. We want to keep track of its cooldown. Clashing Blast, when it procs, it will be auto crit. It will auto crit. And this replaces Blade Storm. So we want to be using this with precision. Okay, we don't want to use this, again, outside of precision. We want to use it with precision, always. Precision, Clashing Blast, and Blade Dance. But you gotta kind of evaluate where we are with that in terms of that. So we want to try and get a dispatch out as well. What some people can do is, if you can time it right, you can fire out a Clashing Blast and then hit a precision because of the travel time. But the problem with that is like, it is off the global cooldown. It's not on the global cooldown as well. Should point out this as well. So you can get away with that, however it can be error prone, okay, and wasting an auto crit Clashing Blast is not recommended. If we waste one of them, unless you can time it to perfection, and we shouldn't have to do that, to be honest with you. The spec should be designed in such a way that, you know, it should be doable without having to sort of look at travel time of abilities and things like that, because Clashing Blast does have a travel time as well, so it's very kind of annoying. In terms of cleave, we want precision, twin saber throw, and sweep generally. Precision will lower the armor. Then of course you got Blade Blitz out, and then you can leap back in. We showed you that with the Marauder one, where if you're sort of standing, assume we're behind it, we can't really get behind it. Blade Blitz out, leap back in as well, which can get there. Be careful with Blade Blitz though, that's the only thing we'll say, is you don't want to land, pull the other trash. Same with Twin Saber Throw. Okay, we don't want to be pulling the other trash behind it, so just be careful about what's going on kind of behind it. And you know, again, and if you're here and there's a trash pool, you know, over there, and we end up over here with our Blade Blitz, then or what was it? No, it's not Blade Blitz. It's yeah, it's Blade Blitz. I thought Blade Rush. I was gonna say, I got mixed up between those two already. It's just a new ability. So Blade Blitz. Just be careful you don't go into the next set of trash. I've seen people do that with Marauder, and you're like, ah. Twin Saber Throw and Blade Blitz, 2 things that you can't really control the distance of. Thanks for that, BioWare. Thank you for that as well. Well, we didn't cover gearing, did we? Gearing, a sense, alacrity, we want kind of, we're not really going to go all into crit. Now, crit multiplier is important because, of course, Clashing Blast is always going to crit. Okay, it's always going to be a crit. We're always going to use it when it's a crit anyway. We're always going to be using it when it's an automatic critical hit. So crit multiplier is pretty useful. Also, we do have the increased critical strike damage bonus of Blade Rush and Clashing Blast by 10%. Blade Rush tends to be just our filler, basically. It does replace Slash, that's what it was called. Slash, not Zealous Slash. Zealous Strike, there you go. Replaces Slash. Strike and Slash. Strike is a non... Strikes are focus generators. Slash is generally our focus spenders. Okay, that's the difference here. We're not accuracy cap, but I'm not too worried. 109.89. Not wasting an augment, to be honest with you. The reason for that is the implant that I won, which was a Mark II implant, had power alacrity in it, so it was like, okay. I mean, it was a personal loot win, and I have to share this gear between my Marauder and the implant. There is a little bit, and the Adept Mark II 216 package. Again, one had crit, one had alacrity, so these would have had accuracy in them. I have got one augment in for accuracy though, but 109.89, it's a 0.11% chance that we'll miss. It's not really a concern. What I'm going to do is, if I take this Outlander one and upgrade it to a, what is it, Defiant Mark 1 version, then we should be close enough. Okay, we should be close enough. 109.89, not a concern, not a huge concern. If it was like 107 or something like that, then yeah, it might be, but it's like not huge really. If it's 109, I had 109.97 on my Vanguard for a while, that's fine. 0.03% chance to miss, that's okay. In terms of alacrity, we do want to be hitting about, I think it's about 8 or 9% actually on alacrity. I have got a implant, Mark II implant, which I got again as a, that was a personal loot drop. I got the ear and the implant from KP, so they were both personal loot drops, non-set bonus stuff. We also have alacrity in the headpiece again, which is a 208 piece, should we want to upgrade that. So we want a bit more alacrity. In terms of crit multiplier, we probably want around 65, I would say, is about where we want to kind of stop. We want to sort of be balanced between alacrity and crit, because it just brings these things off cooldown faster. It gives us more global cooldowns out during the precision window, and that's the key. And that is the key, rather than, you know, having Clashing Blast do extra crit damage. There is, some people say you can just build a crit build and just go all into Clashing Blast, and just, you know, you'll get the crit damage bonus of Blade Rush. Bear in mind this is 10% on this, so 63%, a Clashing Blast will do 73% crit multiplier rather than 63. So I would suggest probably I'd imagine about 65, probably where we want to top out. And if we get to 70, it would be nice. I don't know if we can get to 70. Maybe if this was a progression character, I could certainly try and get to 70, but I definitely want the alacrity as well. We do want the alacrity. We get 3% from our lightsaber form, so we want about, you know, a good 8-9% alacrity. So it takes us to like 40% when we pop our Zen. So alacrity is very useful. I don't know if it does it. I don't know if it does extend this. They did say it in one of the 3.0 patch notes, but I never really played this class that much. So we want a kind of more even balance of crit and alacriity. You can see here we're weighted in favour of crit because we were playing a Fury Marauder as well. But we want quite a nice even balance. We still want the crit though, because it is a benefit to us. We're not going to ignore either of them, but I think about 8-9%. Maybe even pushing towards 10 alacrity if we're looking at sort of 224 gear in that sort of region. But I mean, again, accuracy cap, we're not there yet, but we're pretty damn close to it. We're close enough to it to not worry about it. The next logical upgrade is to buy the implant for commendations. I think I've got enough comms actually to buy the implant. What have we got? Yeah, we've got 111 glowing data crystals. We could go and buy that implant. I'll have to re-augment it as well, but again, so that is an accuracy augment in there. We just put an accuracy augment in. So again, just push it, because that accuracy augment, and we've got, well, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 PCs plus an augment. Yeah, that 4 PCs plus an augment will take us to the cap generally. I've got that offhand, which I got a 220 Mark II offhand. You know, I'm not gonna say no to that. Really, it has accuracy in it, which is not really the best idea for us. It means that we're kind of tied to this. Having this in the offhand, it means our Guardian and Juggernaut DPS specs are going to have accuracy in their offhands as well. So just to balance it out, because of course they use different offhands. But anyway, that is all for this video. So next time we'll take a look at Watchman or Annihilation, depending on this one. This spec I still don't like. It is the best of the 3 in terms of rating. I have to say it is ahead of the other 2 specs, but it is a bit of a pain in the arse to play. It's a bit less of a pain in the arse now, actually, now that whatever the hell Force Rend was called now, Force Melt's called now, generates focus instead of costing focus. But anyway, that is all for this video, so thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.